Sissien from manifest underscore Sissien. I'm all about the level up. I'm all about the self-development. My channel is about you becoming a better person and a better version of yourself with awareness of who you are and what you are supposed to be doing here, being awoke, living your life to your best possible version. Okay, so today we're going to speak about the power of the word. Okay, words are spoken often. We speak a lot of words, and we're not really sure the power behind them. We're not really sure the effects of the words that we actually say to ourselves and even say to other people about ourselves. We're constantly yielding spells, declaring things, affirming things in our lives with our words. Words are very powerful, and most metaphysical teachers speak about the power of the word. Like, for example, Neville Goddard speaks about it, Napoleon Hill speaks about it, Florence Shin, Florence Scovel Shinn also speaks about it as well. The word is so important. Words are so important. What we say creates our reality. What we think about ourselves creates our reality. Okay, so words should not be taken lightly. They are powerful sources of creation and manifesting. Okay, so let's speak about Florence Scovel Shinn. Florence Scovel Shinn was born in 1871, I think, and she died in 1940, apparently. Okay, she was American New Thought teacher. They used to call them New Thought teachers, metaphysical teachers at the time. Okay, she wrote several books, right, and published them while she was alive. But in 1945, a book that was actually written from her own teachings and all the things that she wrote out, right? Her own teachings. A book called The Power of the Spoken Word was actually written, inspired by her life's work, because she used to help teach people to be more aware of what they're saying to themselves and what they're saying upon their lives each day, right? So Florence Scovel Shinn was actually way ahead of herself, if you think about it, right? At that time, it was very spiritual, or rather, it was a very religious time. But Florence kind of understood that if we take the teachings, what's in the Bible, and use them to actually add more value to our day-to-day decisions, it'll make our life more better. So she helped a lot of people in her time, right? So at this time, she still inspires people like myself, right? When it comes to the power of the word. Hi, Z. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining my live. Today we're talking about the power of the word, right? Very important. Words shape our reality, and yet we use them so carelessly. We just say anything, anyhow, and we, even about ourselves, we say things about ourselves. It really puts us in a block, and it kind of creates our own reality, right, with those words. So today we're speaking about Florence Scovel Shinn and the book she wrote, which is actually the power of the spoken word. Apparently, it was not published by her. It was actually taken from her teachings, and the book was published in 1945. Okay, she wrote many other metaphysical teachings, books around metaphysical teachings. However, the Pacific book I'm talking about, The Power of the Word, Spoken Word, was actually published after her death in 1945. Okay, so it covers basically how words shape our reality. Words carry creative power that speak and think influences in our life and our experiences. It actually add influence in our life and experience the words we were speaking. All right. Then she also speaks about the power of affirmations. When you affirm something to be into your life, it shall be. Positive statements, when spoken with faith, right, register in subconscious mind and bring desired outcomes, right, when spoken with faith. So it's positive words when spoken with faith. Remember that affirmations is the latest big thing, right? Everybody wants to learn how to affirm. Everybody wants to affirm, right? But apparently, you don't just affirm something that doesn't have an emotional connection to you, right? And it must be true to you. You don't just affirm anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. It has to be true to you, right? When you are affirming it, okay? And it's a great tool because Florence Scovel Shinn also used to say when she was alive, right, and she was teaching she used to say your words are very important. It's one of the tools you can use, and affirmations, affirming things into place, into your reality. And it's also speaking about faith versus fear. Okay, that's a huge thing when it comes to manifesting and creating your own reality. Fear is inverted faith. That's what they say, right? Fear is inverted faith. To overcome the obstacle, shift from fearful speech to affirmations, positive affirmations rooted in faith. Okay, so if you don't have faith in what you're saying, you're just wasting your time, in other words, right? Then intuition, divine guidance is also important. Intuition, the still small voice within you is guidance, high frequency. So that soft voice within you that tells you, okay, go left. No, don't do this. Do that instead, okay? That's your intuition, that gut feeling, trusting. Trust is, it helps aligns you right into that thing that you want to manifest into your reality. It's about trusting that thing that you want to do, right? Very important. Affirmations align your divine idea or spiritual design invites fulfillment of the true purpose of your specific purpose. Okay, so remember that we have more than one purpose in life. There's lots of purposes you really have, a lot of things that you're here to do. Okay, but in most cases we normally zone into one, right? We say, okay, what is my purpose? You have many purposes, and you have like a overall idea that you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing here, right? Helping people, inspiring people, uplifting people, those type of things, nurturing people as well, and yourself, because when you help other people, you help yourself. It's simple as that, right? So words are powerful in that sense, right? So you can use those words to either break somebody or build them up and encourage them. Words are important. Thank you, Lion Tire. It's not all about the house, lady. Oh, anyway, how are you guys doing? Happy Saturday. I'm Sissy, life coach and motivation speaker. Hope you guys are good this Saturday, right? Hope you guys are good. Today we're talking about the power of the word, right? Very well taught that words are important, and what we say to ourselves and others also create our reality. If you have not as yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you can see my content, right, that comes through. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the likes. I do appreciate it, guys. I do appreciate it, right? So my channel is about spirituality, self-development, and awareness, being aware of who you are, and also changing too as well, changing things that don't work for you, not adding value into your journey, right? That's what awareness is about. You becoming a better person from the inside out, right? Understanding that your world that you creating, this universe that you're experiencing, is coming from your own worldview. Okay, so my channel is about, if you need to change certain things that don't work for you, then you need to change them, right? But first you have to identify what they are. Okay, first you have to identify. Thank you, guys. I see there's quite a few people that join me. Thank you for joining my live. Mandisa Princess, thank you for joining my live, right? The accent is different, lovely, because it's South African accents. I'm from South Africa. Do you know where South Africa is? TL, where you from? Which country you from? Okay. So that's why my accent is different. I'm from South Africa. Okay. And South Africa has a vast different type of cultures within South Africa, right? Okay. So I am what they call mixed breed or mixed race, what they call colored kind of thing, whatever, right? Whatever. But anyway, still black, still non-white. Okay, South African, right? So today I'm talking about the power of the word. Okay, power of the word, and how we can use words to create our own realities. Okay, there's many spiritual teachers that are teaching us these things. Okay. Like, for example, as I said, Neville Goddard speaks about the word, power of the word, very important. So does Abraham Hicks as well. So does Napoleon Hill. So does Florence Scovel. So that means the word is really, truly important. Even in the Bible, it says in the Bible, At first was the word. The word was the first thing that was existed, right? So when the word was set upon the earth, and the waters were divided from the heavens, whatever they say in the Bible, they're speaking about the word. Words were spoken when this divine God, whatever, was creating this reality. He spoke words, and so it was done, right? And so it is very important. Words are very important. So why are we using words to actually destroy our own life? Why are we using words to manifest things that don't work for us? Because we're not aware about the power of them, or because we are not programmed or not conditioned to speak positive words upon ourselves. Okay, because it's what we practice is what we have learned. What we practice is what we have learned. Okay, so it's very important to know that as well. So my accent is different. I said why my accent is different. I'm from South Africa. Okay, so if you're not familiar with South African accents, maybe then you will find it a bit strange. Okay, anyway, thank you everybody else who has just joined my live. We are speaking about the power of the words, of words, and the words you're using are very important for your for your life experience. Life example now, we have this whole thing about manifesting like it's something new. We constantly creating. We are creators, right? We create our words, and we say things about ourselves, and we say things to other people as well. Because remember, what you say out comes back to you. There's nothing that comes out of your mouth without coming back to you. May it be a praise giving, you praise somebody, you thank somebody, okay? May it be a positive thing that you said, may it be a negative thing that you said, it'll always come back to you because of the fact of the fact that we all one, right? What I do to you affects me as well, basically. So that's why people like Florence Scovel Shinn was teaching in the 40s about this thing, that the words that we use are very important. And whenever she spoke upon people, because she used to speak positivity into people's lives, and they used to go to her and they used to ask her, please speak upon my life, speak a positive word upon me, right? And she will speak positive on them, you know what I mean? Blessing them and telling that their money will increase, that they will have enough abundance and stuff like that, because the power of the word is a real thing, all right? So now in 2025, now we're learning about manifesting in the power of the word. The power of the word is an old concept. There's nothing new under the sun. From 1871, imagine that Scovel Shinn was born in 1871, and she passed in 1941. I remember all those years when she was an adult and she was teaching people these words, that the power of the word is the real thing. What you say to yourself can actually build or break down your life, one of the two, depending on what word you are saying. Okay, so let's go back to this whole concept. So we said that the book that Scovel Shinn wrote, Florence wrote, the power of the spoken words. Actually, she never writes it, but was inspired by her teachings, because it was written after her death in 1945. It speaks about the concept of the word shape your reality. Words carry a creative power, a creative spark, that what you speak and think influences your life experiences, okay? Positive statements, those are your affirmations, or positive statements, when spoken with faith, register in your subconscious mind and bring a desired outcome, right? Then faith versus fear is a concept of the book as well. Fear is a converted faith. Okay, so faith, in other words, is converted faith. Sorry, fear is converted faith. Okay, so fear is something negative, let's say that, and faith is something positive, right? So fear, sorry, is converted faith. Okay, so that's what she taught. She teaches in the book. To overcome obstacles in your life, understand that you can change that fear into faith, okay, and trust that you are safe, okay. To overcome obstacles, to shift from fearful speech to affirmations, positive affirmations. But then again, if you're going to speak it, you have to think it. You can't just speak it without thinking it, right? You got to think it, You got to think that you're safe. You got to think that you're well, that you think that you're stable. You got to think that you're provided for. You got to think that you have all your needs met all the time for you to be able to say it, right? So everything begins in the mind. As I say, this life is about the mind. We're creating from the mind. Everything is in the mind, okay? And in the book also speaks about, as I said, the intuition, divine intuition. The still, she says here, that intuition and still voice within you. That still voice within you, that's what she says is your intuition. That gut feeling that you have when you think of something, all of a sudden you have that feeling. That's your intuition telling you that pay attention. There's something you need to pay attention to, right? And most of us don't pay attention because most of us are not living consciously. We are living like, you know what I mean, just going on without really being focused in our life experience, right? We kind of like drifting. We're just drifting through life. We're not really being conscious of what we're doing and what we're experiencing and the choices we are making and what we are saying with our words. We're hearing other people saying, you say, oh, that sounds so cool. And you say the same thing because it sounds cool, but you don't know what those words mean. You don't know the frequency behind those words. You know, like when a rapper's rapping and people rap those words, and sometimes people don't even understand the words that rapper is saying. What is he meaning? What's the frequency? Now you're actually affirming that frequency into your life, but you don't understand the words said in the rap. You know, so those are the things that we need to understand. Like when Kanye starts rapping, understand what is he saying, what those words really mean, right? And do you want to own those words while you saying those words and repeating those words and pouring them into your own life experience? Right, very important because everything is vibration, right? Everything is frequency. So divine plan. She speaks about divine plan. The divine plan, affirming alignment with your divine idea, divine mind, your life. What is your divine plan? Like, I think that every single person's divine plan is to come here, enjoy this life, experience goodness, and also love and be loved. That's your divine plan. At the end of the day, you'll be given problems, you'll be given challenges, but at the end of the day, you must overcome those problems and challenges because your goal is to give love, receive love, and have a good time here, right? The suffering part comes when you start making decisions that allow you to suffer. You start creating your own personal suffering because people create their own personal suffering with the decisions they make and where they're focusing on and what they are focusing on. Very important to know that we actually create our own suffering, okay? We create our own suffering, right? Because basically you align everything to anything that happens to you, okay? So whatever negative alignments or meaning you give something, you actually cause your own suffering. Like, for example, you get a disappointment. You apply for something and you get a disappointment. You don't get that position. Okay, you are left with two choices, right? So either look at this thing as a real disappointment that, oh, this is such a bad situation. I'm feeling so bad. This is working against my happiness. I'm feeling so bad. Or else you can say, oh, well, it just means that this is not for me. It was not meant for me. It just means that maybe I need to try harder next time. You know, there's many ways you can actually decide in which direction to go. But people always put a negative reason on why they never get something, okay? Why did I not get that job? Oh, I'm not good enough. Or I'm not smart enough. Or I don't have enough qualifications. Or, oh, that person doesn't like me that interviewed me. You understand? Now you see all those things that you're putting things in your space that are actually causing your own personal suffering. Because when you say somebody doesn't like you, now you're saying there's an enemy, somebody that sees you and doesn't appreciate you. It's not a good feeling, right? Causing your own suffering, okay? So we're all constantly doing that, constantly. Everything happen and then we assign meanings to those things, right? Because remember, everything is neutral until you assign the meaning to it. Now, the meaning shouldn't make you suffer. The meaning should make you understand that it's only an experience, okay? So when this thing happens, okay, it happened. It's just an experience. What am I supposed to learn from this experience? Instead of you saying, oh my God, I can never be loved. It's a breakup and my man left me, my boyfriend left me. I can never be loved. I'm not lovable. Now you're causing your own suffering instead of you saying something. Okay, yeah, it was just an experience. Okay, so me and him, we don't match. She's not for me. I'm not for him. We're not aligned. Simple. This is an opportunity for me to find somebody that I'm aligned to. Instead of you saying, oh my God, I can never find a partner in my life. I can never find somebody to love me. Nobody can ever love me. All those things. That's now giving negative assignment to your experience. Right? As I said, everything is neutral until we give an assignment. Okay. So the summary of the book is non-resistance. In that book, the book I'm talking about, right, with Florence Scovel Shinn, the inspired book called The Power of the Spoken Word. So if you have not as yet, go online and come across that book, and it'll help you a lot to understand how powerful words are. Okay, very, very powerful. So there's about the themes of the book is number one, non-resistance and gratitude, not to give resistance to situations, as I said. Depending on your assignment you're putting on something, when you put a negative assignment to something, you're giving a resistance, you're resisting that situation, that circumstance, you're not accepting it as what it is. It's just an experience. It just means maybe I need to try harder, or maybe I need to try a different angle of before, until I had achieved these things. Yeah, it's just another chance for me to do it again better this time. Just another chance for me to do it again better this time, and really immerse myself into preparing for that interview. Really immerse myself in researching about that position and that company where I'm applying. So that next time I apply, I'm ready. I'm gonna show up as my best possible version of myself. Okay, all those things are very important. Releasing resistance and practicing gratitude facilitates the flow of blessings and synchronicities. Right now, in the manifestation world, everybody's speaking about manifesting. They're speaking about synchronicities and stuff like that, right? Which are shows that your vibe, your frequencies is on target to what you want to manifest. Your frequency is aligning to the thing that you want to manifest, and you get those synchronicities. All right, and she also speaks about biblical metaphors. So Florence Scovel Shinn, was a very religious kind of person. When you look at the book, there's a lot of biblical metaphors that she uses there, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what she was taught, and she used the Bible to actually get those wonderful metaphors to help in the book as well, okay? So Shin frequently draws the scriptures like death and life with the power of the tongue, in the power of the tongue, or on the power of the tongue, or the power of the tongue, whatever, which is Proverbs 18:21, right? She speaks about that in a book, that the power of the tongue is powerful, meaning that life and death sits on your tongue. So whatever you say with your mouth, with your tongue, you're creating a life experience or a death experience. Okay, that's what she speaks about there in that book as well, which is quite interesting because she gives you another twist on how you can see the verses in the Bible instead of them looking at them as purely condemning, but also uplifting. Because remember that the Bible, a lot of the verses that are in the Bible speak about condemning sinners and stuff like that, right? But they're all like Proverbs. It's very helpful to kind of uplift your mindset, right? And I'm not a supporter of the Bible either because I'm not Christian, but I do understand that it has value. There is nothing in this reality that doesn't have value. Remember that everything here has a negative and a positive. So you take what you can take from it and move on, right? Don't just say like, okay, the Bible's totally wrong, or it's totally a book that cannot help any person, right? The Bible can help people, but it depends on how they're reading it, how they're interpreting it. Not as if the Bible is something that, how would I say? I don't believe the Bible is a holy book, right? I think it's a book. It's inspired by people who were inspired by God, right? So, for example, if any author is inspired by God, according to what I understand, because when I want to write a book, right, and I get all these insights, right, on how to write this book. I'm being inspired by divine source God, I believe so. Right? Same as the Bible. I don't think it's a holy book, but I think it can be a useful book if it's used the right way. Not to oppress people, not to condemn people, but to uplift people. So when people read the Bible, they tend to kind of condemn themselves. I'm a sinner. They read it from the concept that I am a sinner. And that's not the way to start. When you want to read the Bible to a more uplifting experience, it's about, okay, let me see what the Bible says. How it can help me to uplift myself instead of condemning me. You understand? And you don't take everything in the Bible literally, right? Don't take it literal. It's always about what is it reference to? What is it meaning at that time? Because remember, the people that wrote the Bible were people who were living in a different stage, different time. Things were different. You understand? So you only have to say, okay, what is the reference to? It must be in context. In context. In other words, it must be in context to whatever situation that you find yourself in. Right? So people take the Bible too literally. Thank you for liking my life. People take the Bible too literally. You understand? Because it is a book. It's like any other book. It's a book with a lot of things that can teach you, a lot of things, and also inspire a lot within you. But it wasn't really meant to depress you and make you are just a sinner. And if you don't follow the 10 commandments and you go to hell. Firstly, when you're not Christian, you don't believe in hell, right? You believe in the space that you believe that. For me, for example, I believe that you can have a negative experience here and call it hell, right? Or you can have a negative experience on the other side and call it hell. It's all about a negative experience, an experience where you feel that you're a victim somehow, that you're a sinner, that you're not good enough, kind of thing. That whatever you did in your life is gonna make you go to this hell space, okay? This space of pain, right? So these are the things we need to also understand as well. The Bible should not be taken literally, right? It's just a book like any other book. Look at it, and I like when atheists read the Bible, or people that are not really Christian read the Bible. They read it from a place of, I want information. Basically, I want to understand. That's where they read it from. Then Christians tend to read the Bible from, oh my God, God said this, and if I don't do this, I'm going to go to hell. Right? This is the right way and the wrong way to live. There is no right way or wrong way to live. Everything is choice. Right? Now, that is not a Christian teaching. It's a spiritual teaching, okay? That everything is choice. You here to live your life. Don't live like what you're doing is going to take you to get you to hell, whatever. You're here to have fun, to enjoy, but remember, there's consequences for every single action that you make. There's positive consequences and there's negative consequences, which is your karma, right? So we are governed very well with the natural laws of the universe, okay? We don't need to go and govern each other and oppress each other, because you're already governed by the divine source, by the matrix system, if you want to call it that. We already have everything in place, the give and take and all those, what they call is 18 of them, 12 to 18 laws, basically, right? And there's 7 major ones that are very interesting, right? And we have the others that make it up to about 12 to 18 laws, okay? And most philosophies speak about those laws. The most oldest philosophies speak about those laws, except for what's in the Bible. But if you look at those 10 commandments and you break them down, they all speak about the same thing. Like, for example, don't cover covenants, or make a covenant, whatever, or don't desire your neighbor's wife. What does that mean? It's about cheating. It's about you not being dishonest, but be honest. And that's part of what we have. Like, for example, the law of oneness speaks about everything, because the law of oneness, when we have a law of oneness, what I do to you, or do to myself, hurts you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? We are not separated, right? If I hurt you, I hurt myself, and all those things, right? So they all are kind of speaking, like the Bible goes more on the physical level, not on the energetic level, all on the physical level, because the God of the Bible was talking about words and condemning people and telling people what to do and what not to do, right? So yeah, you have freedom of choice when it comes to spirituality. That's the difference, okay? However, as I said, the Bible can be used for to uplift you depending on how you approach it. Like any other book, even if it goes any other religious text, right? Any other text with different philosophies, as how you approach it, how you implement it into your life experience as well. Remember, all those things are words. All words is, and then Florence Scovel Shinn speaks about the 3 words will manifest your dream into your reality. That was Neville. That was Neville. Neville Goddard speaks about the 3 words that can actually uh, manifest your life into your reality. It is done. Basically, the power of the word. Like when you're manifesting something or when you're praying for something, or say you're affirming something, because people think that praying is like asking or begging, right? But however, remember that prayer is also words as well. But it's also how you approach in the prayer. How are you praying? What are your intentions? Are you coming as a beggar? Are you coming as somebody pleading for this help? Or you affirming it? Or you declaring it? Okay. So when Neville Goddard speaks about those 3 words, it is done, right? He's saying it is sealed. What I've asked for, I have it. It's not an issue. It's here already, the power of the word. So Neville Goddard speaks about that when you're manifesting, using the words, it is done. Right? That's also a very powerful way of you manifesting. Like when you affirm something, say you're not asking for it, you're affirming it, right? So we taught to ask in religion. In spirituality, you're affirming it into place. You are setting it into place, into your foundation of your life. You're setting it down. So it is done, right? It is done, basically, when you are affirming. And when you're doing spell work, like, when witches do spell work, they say, so mote it be. When they're doing their affirmations and doing spell work, they say, so mote it be, which is same as it is done, basically, okay? So words are very powerful, and they're used in different places, different religions, different philosophies, right? So the witches, right, can use it. The Christians can use it, okay? The atheists can use it, so any person can use it, because words are just words. They're very powerful, right? So the philosophy behind the whole idea, the 3 words, it is done. It is done, okay? The 3 words. Neville Goddard uses this as the law of assumption, okay? When he says, I'm assuming it to be so, it is done. Okay, I assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, he speaks about that. I like when he says that, right? I assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, now we're talking about feeling and an assumption. The feeling of the wish fulfilled, meaning that I can feel I have this thing. Okay, so now he's speaking about the feeling. Now we spoke about the word. Now he's speaking about the feeling. The second important thing is the feeling. The most important is the word, right? The words you're using. Then the feelings that go with those words. Now, remember that each spiritual teacher is coming with his or her own way of approaching life's challenges, okay? So, Florence Scovel Shinn, came in with her own point of view, very religious to that point that, okay, she's using the Bible, and a lot of people that have moved away from religion find it very uncomfortable. I mean, I did find it a bit uncomfortable when I first read the book and listened to the audio. It was the first time. I felt a bit uncomfortable because I just left the church, okay? But the more time you spend away from the church, the more time you spend in spirituality, you tend to understand that, yeah, really, you know what I mean? There's nothing really to worry about. Once you've really removed that programming, that religious programming, okay, then you actually can go back and even read the Bible on a very objective manner, not giving resistance. Because when you first move away from the church, right, the words that you are saying that involve anything you were taught in the church, there's still that push against it, right? But the more you spend time away from the church atmosphere in spirituality, right, the more you understand that, yes, I don't need to push against it anymore. I don't need to resist it. It is what it is, okay? People have freedom of choice, okay? And yes, I was in that religion for a certain reason, and it taught me something. So what is the thing I can take away from being involved in the church, okay? There's a lot of things I can take away from being involved in the church as somebody who's spiritual now, right? But remember the words that I've used then, and I didn't understand the power, why we're saying amen and why we're saying all those things. Now I understand, okay? Now I understand more powerful words to actually use to manifest things into my life experience. When I come in the presence of divine source, in the presence of the creator, I come in as an equal, right? I don't see myself as lesser as, because we are co-creating this reality, me and the divine source, right? My own reality. I don't know about yours. You decide on how you want to see it, right? So when I come in the presence of my deities, my spiritual guidance, all those beings that help me out, including divine creator, I'm coming in as an equal because I'm also a piece and a spark of divine source itself, okay? And so are you. But how you decide to do it, how you decide to actually approach it, is up to you when it comes to that. Remember that your words are very important, right? So when you come in and you're saying a prayer, don't say it from a place of lack. And when you're saying it in a place of lack, you will use lack words. You won't be using empowering words. You're not affirming, you're not declaring. That is powerful, right? Because I know the power you have given me, divine source. I'm now taking that power, right? And I'm declaring my life as well. I'm declaring and saying so. I'm speaking truth into my own life experience because you've given me the power to do so, right? So now, a lot of people spend a lot of time going to church and in Christianity, and they don't understand that concept that your words are very important. How you go there and commune with divine source, God, how you do it, how you do it is very important. Yes. How you do it is very important. I agree with that. God is good, and so are you, sweetie pie. We're all good. Okay, because we're all parts of divine source, we're all parts of God, right? Because if they say in the Christian Bible that we are created in the image of God, what does it mean? That you are God, you're created in the image of God, even if you have the mind of God. All you need to do is start focusing on the empowering things in your mind and start reseating your mind with powerful thoughts that can create and not break and kill. You understand? Because everything is in the tongue and in the mind. How you are creating your life is determined by your mind and what you say with your mouth on a continuous basis, and then turns into your action, right? Because it inspired action, as they call it, coming from your mind and your word comes inspired action. And remember that if your mind is polluted with negativity and complaining and hatred and jealousy, your words will express what your mind is full of. That pollution, that negative vibes will come out of your mouth, and your actions will be the same as well. Because all these three things are linked: the mind, the word, the actions, all linked. Okay, very, very important to understand that. Right, so let's go back to Neville Goddard's assumption law. When he says it is done, he says it is done. He's assuming that what I'm asking for, what I'm wanting, what I'm desiring now, it is done. I have it already. Okay, powerful, right? So if you go and take all these spiritual teachers' teachings, go to Napoleon Hill, go look at his content, okay? Look at the books. If you can afford to get the books, buy the books and the physical books. If you cannot get the audios, right? Understand what he's saying. Then go to Abraham Hicks' teachings. Go to Bashar's teachings. Then go to the Florence Scovel Shinn. You understand? And see that these people are all saying the same thing, but in different ways. They different techniques of saying the same thing when it comes to the power of the word, the thoughts, right? That's why every single spiritual teacher is teaching about affirmation, affirming things. And remember, it's not only about the affirmation, okay? You're going to have to fix your mind, the limiting belief systems that are in your mind. Because if you have limiting belief systems in your mind, okay, it's not going to help much you affirming something. Okay, so again, that's another process. Again, it's the word, right? Writing down your belief systems about every single thing. Are they limiting? Are they empowering? What you believe about money, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about relationships, what you believe about food, what you believe about work, what you believe about your body, right? Are they empowering beliefs, or they limiting beliefs that are causing problems in your life experience and a back end, causing problems in the back end because you're not conscious of them, right? Because the subconscious mind, right? Subconscious mind triggers reactions of known incidences, things that happen in the past. Because remember that everything is not hidden, okay? And nothing is new under the sun, right? So whatever happened in your life experience now is normally linked to what happened in your childhood, in your subconscious mind, because your ways of reacting to things in life is all kept in the mind, right? And the words you say every day to yourself and to others also contributes and add to your subconscious actions or reactions to life experiences, right? Very important to know that, right? I'm almost done, right? I always talk for an hour, okay, 40 or 50 something minutes, okay, because I don't want my life to be too long, right? So it's all about that, the assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We spoke about that. Live in the state of it already being realized. It is done. Okay, persist with assumption, right? Desire that your senses say, right? Desire what your senses say. In other words, okay, what does that mean? Eventually your assumption will manifest in physical reality. Persist in what you're assuming despite what you see with your eyes. Okay, this is a very tricky thing for most people, even for myself. Persist in your presumption even if what you're seeing is a contrary, it's different to what your assumption is, right? I'm a healthy person, right? But I know that I'm not that healthy because I've been going to doctor, I've been having flu and all those things. Okay, but remember, there's different levels of health, okay? There's general health, and I'm a healthy person. How many times you get sick in a year, right? I hardly get sick, okay? I probably, not even once in a year. Like, so far, we're in a month of going for September next week, right? And I haven't had a flu, not even once. I haven't been to the doctor, not even once, right? So what does it mean? It means that my health is generally healthy. I'm a healthy person. That's your assumption. But, okay, let's use another example. Money. I have plenty money. I have abundance of money, all right? If you feel that's against your assumption, your worldview, when you're saying it becomes a problem, but you can say something like this, right? I'm working towards appreciating what I have at this moment. Or you can say, I'm working towards abundance, right? I'm working towards opening myself to more money, right? I'm opening myself to more money experience in my life, okay? I'm opening myself to more money making ideas in my life, okay? I'm not focused on abundance, okay? I'm learning to focus on abundance. You see, now you're easing yourself into it. If you're saying an affirmation that's totally against your assumption, remember, your assumption can be changed, but in the meantime, say affirmations that are easy in your heart and your mind that you won't like say, okay, this is not true, but you're saying it, okay? So it's very important for you to understand, right? So you persist in your assumption. I like that one. Despite what you see in your reality, keep to your assumption, right? That it will manifest into reality. We say, yes, it's coming. Remember that as I said in my last week's live, the astral plane, your vortex where everything is kept. When you are wanting something now in your reality, and you affirm it and you say it and you declare it, right? And you're acting towards it, okay? It's now bringing that thing from the vortex, from the astral into your reality, because we are actually manifesting everything from the spiritual into the physical, right? And because of the fact that the condensation process is not that instant, because we're not in the fifth dimension. Yeah, we are here in the third dimension reality, right? So when we are pulling something down, it's gonna come up, take some time. Like, for example, when you're boiling water, The water gets hot, right? And then you get vapor coming out, okay? And then you take water and you put it into a fridge and you ice it. It takes time, doesn't instantly just become ice, or doesn't instantly become a vapor. You understand? So that's what I mean, that in this reality, everything takes a little bit more time because we are ruled by the time here, right? Time is a real thing. We are ruled by it in the third dimension reality. But as you go higher frequencies, high dimensions, time gets less and less and less important. You understand? It goes simply. You understand? Because the other things are out there as well. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that when you assume something to be true, consider it, even if you cannot see it in your eyes, it's somewhere in the ethers, in the astral, somewhere it's correct, it's condensing, it's becoming solid, so it's going to drop into your reality. It sounds like magic when you're trying to picture how, when you're manifesting something with your words and your actions and your thoughts and you're getting this thing, okay? You're working towards it. You are focusing on it positively. You're bringing it forward, but it's not here yet. That's where people lose hope, okay? So now, people like Neville Goddard's teaching, he speaks about you keeping that assumption. Hold on to the assumption until it becomes your physical reality. Don't lose hope, okay, at all. Because you must understand that this is that dimensional reality. Things take a bit more slower to actually manifest through, okay? It doesn't mean because it's taking some time that doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that does not exist. Dorothy, thank you. Thank you for joining my live. I didn't see you before. All right. Anyway, I'm about to end just now, guys. So it's all about that. Neville Goddard was a mystic, a spiritual teacher, right? And remember that we said that Florence Scovel Shinn was more like a also a teacher as well, but more metaphysical teacher. So you can say mystic, metaphysical teacher as well. I think it means the same thing. So Neville Goddard was a mystic, spiritual teacher, and an author whose teachings focus on the power of the imagination. Right, the image, imagining things in your mind, because everything begins in the mind, in your imagination. Like, for example, any create of anything starts with an idea, an imagination in the mind, all right? That's how we're manifesting, from the mind, from the imagination, right? But most of us have an issue understanding that, right? I think it's because of the world we live in. People don't understand that you have to picture something, picture it, maybe feel it as well, and then you're able to bring it forth, okay? Like if you like a song or you like a dance routine, you know the steps, you know the vibe, that feeling, that emotional feeling that builds up, it goes with it, right? So I can understand even when Beyonce is creating a dancing routine, I'm sure she's thinking of the steps, she's thinking about the vibe, the feeling comes through first. Okay, when I move my hips that way and I do this and do that, there's a feeling, right, that goes with it, right? That's how we manifest as well. And it helps the imagination, because that's part of the imagination. The feeling's also part of the imagination, right? Because the picture alone is not enough. The picture with the feeling makes it more powerful, all right? So, Neville Goddard, a mystic, a spiritual teacher and author whose teachings focus on the power of the imagination, faith, and the law of assumption, assuming what you have already said with your mouth is now true to you. It is there, right? So that's you're consciously creating this thing into your reality with this, with your mind, with your words, right? And he's considered one of the most influential new thought, as they call him. They used to call him in those days new thought and manifestation movement teachers, right? And his work continues to be inspired by millions today, right? A lot of people use these techniques, and I so called it, okay? There are people that manifesting things in 3 days, because there is a teaching what Neville Goddard was speaking about, the law of the 3-day law, where you can manifest something, anything in your life in 3 days. But what he's speaking about there, the 3 days is you creating it, right? When it's coming in, it might come after 3 days into your reality, or it might come a little bit more longer, maybe later on. But for me, it's like, okay, it's 3 days. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to show up exactly on the 4th day. Because I mean, it's 3 days, and the 4th day it comes in your mailbox, comes into your life. For me, it's like, okay, It's great. It's like making a mail order, making an order online. It's something like that, right? When you're making an order online, you choose the item that you want, right? Then you put it in your box, okay? Now you want more to go with that order, right? So those 3 days, if that's what you're doing, you're making an order to the universe for that thing that you want into your life experience. Very powerful. If you're interested, go and look at that video. There's videos about the 3-day manifestation and what he says on each day, because he has a thing for you to do on each day, right? Each day for all 3 days, right? And in the meantime, for those 3 days, your focus is purely on you having that thing, purely on the love and the goodness of having a thing in your life, the value of having a thing in your life. Purely focus on you having that thing, experiencing it now, although it's not yet now, but you are living in that having of that thing, which is kind of a trick for most people, right? Even for myself at times, depending on what I want to manifest. It depends on what I want to manifest. Certain things are easy to manifest for me, and other things are more of a challenge. You know what I mean? Especially when it's something that I have never experienced before. Now, this is the trick of the whole game of life. What you have not experienced before, it's hard for you to connect to that thing. But what you have experienced before, it's easy for you to connect to that thing. That's my experience. I'm not sure about you guys, right? I'm not sure what you all think about that. Make in the comments what you think about your manifesting. When you want something that you've never had before, does it take longer for you to manifest that thing, or does it? I mean, how's your own experience when it comes to manifesting, right? For me, when I want something, when I'm desiring something, I'm pulling something into my life that I've never had before. It takes longer sometimes, and the feeling, the connection between that thing and me is not really there because I have never experienced it before, right? So what I've been trying to do, I go online and I try and experience it visually. I go online and I Google all of that thing that I want, and I Google other people that have it, right? That thing that I want, and then I kind of immerse myself in those videos to try and get that feeling of having that thing, okay? Because my imagination is linked to my feeling, not so much the picture, right? For example, a lot of people have those moving pictures, you know what I mean? For me, I have moving feelings. I have feelings when I'm visualizing. It's all about the feeling. I can see it, yes, but I can really, really feel it. And it gives me that good feeling and the excitement of having that thing in my life experience, right? So, Neville Goddard, known as Neville Lancelot Goddard, he was born in 1905. 1905. So, it's after Florence. So, Florence Scovel Shinn is a bit more older, right? And Neville Goddard was born after her, right? I'm not sure Napoleon Hill. It's nice to understand when these teachers of metaphysical stuff, spirituality really came about. That time frame for us to understand, okay, how their teachings bleed onto the other like that, and what they're saying, all the things they're saying are the same. They're very related. Right? Like for example, if you look at Abraham Hicks' teachings, look at uh Seth's teachings from the 60s, from the 40s, actually the 40s, Seth's teachings, and you look at Abraham Hicks' teachings, and look at Bashar's teachings, and then you find that, okay, there are the similarities, but these collective entities are expressing it differently, but at the same time, they're all saying the very same thing, right? So in other words, we as human beings continuously get information from these non-physical beings, because they in the non-physical, right, while we're still in the physical, right? Okay, so we cannot see this life experience the way they see everything. They see money purely as energy. They see love purely as energy. They see us as purely as energy. We just see ourselves as the physical blobs, these meat bags called bodies, you understand? And they see them something different. They see the flow of divine consciousness. They see the flow of consciousness universally on a macro level, right? While we're in the micro. So it's important for us to make use of their information, because it helps us, people on spiritual path. It helps you understand What are you doing here? My words are very important. What I think is very important. Okay. What I do and what I don't do is very important as well. It's also adding to something, right? So remember, you either adding to your life or you're taking from your life, in other words, with the negative energies. Okay. Very important as well, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, nothing to be afraid of at all, because these two things, the negative and the positive, work together. However, remember, when you want to create something that's going to add value into your life, speak positive into it, right? And remember that bad things will happen, but when they happen, you frame them. You call them bad because you frame them. You assign the bad meaning to that thing. Very important. Another thing, your assignments of meaning to things in your life are very important, because it can help you create a better life experience, and also alleviate your own suffering, your own personal suffering, right? And remember what you say to other people as well. You can either going to add more suffering to those people, or you're going to add love to them as well. Remember, if you want to have love, give love. Very important. Your words must speak love. Then you're able to actually build something instead of you breaking people down. Because remember, you break somebody down, you break yourself down. As I say, even when it comes to spells, if you're putting spells and you're doing witchcraft and you're bewitching other people with your words, you are bewitching yourself, because what comes out will definitely come back in. Whatever comes out your mouth will come back to you hundredfold. The law of three, actually, that's the law of I think the law of three is what the witchcraft. It comes three times back to you, right? But we say a hundredfold. Simply means that the fully force and effects of what you said will come back to you. Maybe manifested in a different way, but it will come back to you eventually, right? That's the importance of the words. So go and have a look at these teachers, right? The spiritual teachers. Go and look at Florence Scovel Shinn. Go look at Napoleon Hill's teachings. Go look at Neville Goddard's teachings. Then go further and go into the more deeper stuff. Like go into Abraham Hicks' teachings. There's not a lot of Seth's teachings, because it's older. Jane Robertson channeled him, that collective in the 40s, right? Is it the 40s? Yes, the 40s. And then Florence Scovel Shinn, and as I mentioned, I was ready at Abraham Hicks, and then I said Abraham Hicks, I said Seth, right? I said the old one, then I said Bashaw, I spoke about Bashaw, right? And then Abraham Hicks, right? And trying to understand what they're really saying, and why is their teaching so important for us at this time as human beings, to realize that we've been receiving confirmation that the words that we use are powerful. We've been receiving confirmation that we are divine source. We have been receiving confirmation that we are creators of our own reality. Like, people don't take that seriously. Right? So every single day I'm asking myself, okay, since I'm the creator of my own reality, okay, does it help me to have this type of perception, right? This perception is working against my manifesting the things that I want to create in my life experience, my goals, my desires. Is what I'm practicing adding to my goals and desires, or is it pushing it away from my goals and desires? You know what I'm trying to say? Very important. Very important to live consciously, because the word is powerful, but that's why we need to live consciously. Every day should be a conscious day. Whatever you're doing must be have a conscious intent. Yes, your intent must be conscious. Don't live in big hypnotic rhythm where you just like vibrating and moving on without really thinking clearly what are you doing, why are you doing, and how are you doing it. How are you showing up for yourself in the world? And you're not here to impress any person but yourself. So how are you showing up for yourself, right? And the world, right? But you're not there to impress the world. You're there for yourself, to make yourself happy. When you're happy, then your world is happy. Universe is a happy place. Your personal universe is a happy place. Okay. So remember, be careful of the words you're using on a day-to-day basis. Right? What are you saying to yourself in the morning? The first thing you do in the morning when you get up. Okay. What are you saying to yourself the last thing in the evening when you go to bed and sleep, when you hit your head on the pillow? What are you saying to yourself? What those thoughts? What are you thinking? That's what are you saying to yourself? Is what's in your mind? What were you saying about your day, about your life at the beginning of your day, at the end of the, and then when you finish, you focus on those two poles, the beginning and the end. Then you focus on during your day. How am I showing up in the world each day as somebody, whoever you are? How am I showing up each day as me, in the world? Am I being more positive? Am I thinking more positively? Am I saying empowering words to myself and to other people? How am I interacting with the world? That's very important. Now, that means that you're now living a very conscious mind, very consciously, right? I have to end now, guys. I hope the teaching was helpful. I spoke a lot about the power of the word, and I hope it did spark an interest within you as well. Okay, very important, right? So go ahead and have a great day further. And yes, remember, you are blessed, you have abundance, and prosperity is yours, depending on your words, all right? Depending on your words and your thoughts. Have a great weekend further. Probably I'll do another live tomorrow on Sunday as well, okay? Have a great weekend, a great Saturday further, guys. Bye.